explain like I'm 30.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Explain Like I'm 30. I'm your host, Sidney Raskine, aka sidneyraz, all over the internet, and telling you things I wish I knew before I was in my 30s. Sorry about that, but listen, today's guests, very exciting, fellow ADDers, fellow ADHDers. They're so much fun. But before we get into that, we got to talk about the important stuff, and that's right. Hot labor summer is in full swing, y'all. And that's the important thing to know is that it is time to break the system and be the workforce that we know we are and the powerhouse that we are. That's right. Hot labor summer. Support your unions. Support SAG. And actually, interestingly enough, the guest that we have on today taught me that there is another guild that we could be supporting. And that is the Puppets Guild, everyone. The Puppets Guild. Yeah, that's right. My guests today, they are puppeteers. They are people that create puppets, adopt puppets, and then let you adopt the puppets too. Ragmop and Goose, a puppet adoption agency. Jesse and Gus, I met them at a Patreon event, and we started talking, and we basically just became friends really quickly. And then they told me that they were puppeteers. And I was like, oh my gosh, do you want to be on my podcast? Can you please be on my podcast? This would be so cool. So I'm very excited to have them on the show today. And I'm just going to let them introduce themselves, explain like I'm 30. Hey, why they are such amazing people and how their jobs are so important and just like what it's like to even be content creators. We get into the passports a little bit later in the show. Definitely stick around for that. The passports for every single puppet that they ship out is incredible and amazing. And I need a puppet now. So Ragmop and Goose, Jesse and Gus, let's get into it. Thank you so much for being here. Introduce yourselves, please. I know that we know each other. We met each other a couple weeks ago, but please introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Gus, or AKA Dr. Goose, and I am half of Ragmop and Goose, a puppet adoption agency.
So good.
And I am Jessie, AKA Ragmop. The other half of Ragmop and Goose.
So, Gus, when we actually met, Gus and Jesse, when we first met, I did not know you were a doctor. So, do you have an actual PhD in puppeting?
No, I do not. It is I'm as much as a doctor as Pepper is. So, yeah.
That's important because actually Dr. Pepper was created. Sorry, Dr. Pepper fanboy over here. Dr. Pepper was created to be unlike literally any other soda. So it's important to think about yourself as if you're Dr. Goose, that means you are unlike any other puppet doctor in the world.
Then I would have to agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Incredible. But so yeah, but like both you said, you are a puppet conservationist and adoption agency. So Gus, behind you, we have the after, and then Jesse, behind you, we have the before. Yes. So could you explain that a little bit more to me? Because like I kind of see behind Gus like the aliens from the Muppets, which I love, right? The me meeps. Oh, yeah. And then behind Jesse, I see like the threads and the colorful threads and like some eyeballs, I think, up there.
Yeah. We got some eyeballs.
Which is also like just a terrifying thing that I think about with puppet making is just like you just have a room full of eyes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, what is that? Like maybe we start with the adoption and then the restoration and then into the I guess showing of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So so this is the cloning lab, as we've dubbed it. So essentially what we do as puppet conservationists is we go out into the world and we, just search for artifacts of extinct species of puppets or endangered species of puppets, and we'll extract their DNA. And then I bring that to Dr. Goose, who then we work together to make clones of these puppets. And obviously these puppets need to be assimilated back into society. So that's where the adoption comes into play.
Sure.
So each puppet comes with like a little passport for travels, an adoption certificate, and like little personal records that they can fill out, like their phobias and their allergies and everything like that.
Right.
This
And
is
then
the
it
lab.
also-
Oh, sorry,
wait,
go ahead.
it also comes with a booklet of what to expect when expecting a puppet.
Oh my God,
with a
that's
little bit of
amazing.
guide and everything like that in there as well, because it's something you have to take care of. It's not something that can just lie around. You have to love it. You have to really care for it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
You
But
have
go
to
ahead,
you
Jesse.
have to be well, you have to be real about it. You have to be willing to learn about the puppet and make it real.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's like some puppeteering tips in the what to expect guide and how to actually care. Like, they don't like the washing machine. They're afraid of the washing machine. They like,
Right.
a hand washed bath. But
Right.
it's just cute little stuff like that. Just trying to make it like personal and engaging for whoever is on the other end of our mailbox.
It's incredible. Wait, so you actually mailed them out?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, go ahead, Gus.
So I have designed a box that has millions of microscopic holes so that the puppets are safe to breathe and travel in.
Incredible.
And so that way they go out to their destination. A lot of them like to take a deep sleep. That's just kind of what they do in the process
Sure.
of getting to their new homes. And we ship them out. They have gone all over the world, all over the U.S. I mean, everywhere. There's puppets all over. So,
But you're also shipping these puppets, or I guess they're going to their new home.
yeah, they're shipping still. We
They're
gotta pay
shipping.
for shipping.
I just don't want to say the wrong thing because they are obviously feelings, and they have their own life. But you are shipping these puppets out to people that also need puppets, and then they're using them in their shows and all that kind of stuff.
No, it's more they're just adopting our puppets, and now they are in care of those puppets, of bringing them to life, and they have the option to, if they want to change their name or go off to the names and characters we built, they can do whatever. But it's like a pet adoption. It's almost, it's
Do
in
you
that
get sad
vein.
when they? Do you get sad when they leave?
Sometimes I've gotten better about it. Yeah. Like now that we've made so many and shipped them off, like I know they're off to a great home, but I also know I can clone another one if I want one for myself. So
I mean,
Right.
yeah, we have been on the track of like, you know what, let's make an extra one. Let's, we've got room. Let's put it up there. So,
Yeah.
But it is sad. I mean, there are some that we've adopted out that we do not have one of. And we think about it every once in a while of just like, man, I miss that puppet. I miss that one. Like that one was such a cool puppet, But it's also nice that.
Do you have like all the passports stored somewhere or something where you're just like, oh yeah.
Do you want to see some? I can grab them.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
Okay,
pull them
one
out.
sec.
We got them in the lab.
Well, I guess, but and like while we're waiting for Jesse, like, how'd you even get into this, Dr. Goose? Like, where does it start?
So, okay, the start of it, I mean, both of us loved puppets growing up. And, in the deeper thing of like, once you reach a certain age in life, there is something that people say like, that's too childlike, that's too kiddish. Like maybe it's time to move on from that type of stuff. And I think that it happens in a lot of us. And it did happen with me for a period. It was like, that's kid stuff, And then I met Jessie, and she had done like a puppet making class and had like a puppet. And it was when we were first like dating, she was very nervous that she had a puppet on there. It was like, oh no, what is he going to think? And that was actually one of the first things I commented on. I was like, you have a puppet? Oh, I want to see this thing. Like, show me, And so the relationship off of that built of us just kind of playing around with puppets and bringing that childlike wonder back through that. And then from there, it was just, we wanted to bring that back for anybody of the, we realized, growing up with having the Muppets and all the different shows that had real puppets as characters, you don't really think about it, but there are so many that it's just in our life constantly. And so it's just nice to kind of bring it back in this more of like, let's just have fun with puppets. Let's be kids. Let's play around. Let's make characters, voices, whatever. So
I mean, Jesse, we were just kind of talking about like how Dr. Goose got into it. And I mean, so you loved puppets before you met Gus, and it was just like, hey, Gus, check this cool thing out. I'm weird, you're weird, right? Like I was just listening to another podcast, my brother and me, and it was like, so my dad's a juggler, and like you just have to kind of like introduce that weird thing into life. And I think when you finally find the person where you're like, so I got these puppets, and then that your partner's like, yeah, me too. Like, cool.
Let's do this.
I think that's kind of just like such a magical thing of like, I don't know, how do you even introduce that? Was that like third date thing? Was that like a first date thing? Like, I'm just getting it out of the way now. Like, what was it?
Pre-date?
Pre-date, yeah. We actually met on Tinder, of all places.
Tight.
So it was like in the conversation as we were getting to know, like the first conversation we had, I think you asked for my Instagram and I sent it. And then a little bit after I sent it, I was like, oh no, there's videos of me playing with a puppet on there. Like, there's no way he's going to be into that. And then that was when he was like, you have a puppet? So then, as we got to know each other and he came over, he met my puppet, and like,
Sure.
He's a natural performer. He's an actor. So he just jumped right into it. And then as we continued to date, we just did more little funny bits with that particular puppet. And it's grown over the last 8 years into what it is now.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Because
what's the name of the puppet that you introduced him to? Turkey.
Turkey.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I don't know. It's all the way up in the corner, that purple one.
The top right.
Cool.
That's
buddy.
Turkey. So that's the origins of Ragmop and Goose. Is Turkey, really? So
yeah,
that's incredible. That's incredible. I mean, so Gus, you said Jesse said that you were an actor, but Jesse, are you a performer as well? Like, were you before puppeting? You just
no.
You just had the pup. You were just like, man, puppets, hell yeah.
I've always been more on the artist side, like photography and art, drawing, making, like behind the camera kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
then
like,
Gus, you're just like, oh, let's do this.
So that was, I mean, really, because that was the deal. Is Jesse started making puppets, was doing Patreon for art, and just decided and she'd always wanted to, but decided, I'm going to make some puppets. I'm going to put them up for adoption. And then she asked me to hold them to take pictures, just to take pictures. Yeah. And I started, doing characters. I was like, this one looks like it would sound like that. And then she was like, all right, stop everything. Let me get my video camera. Let's start, And so then we just did that batch. And from there on, it took off of just having fun with making little characters and it was just started off as doing photo shoot days with puppets. And it was just bringing in characters and doing stuff. And,
Man, and what a release of creativity that must have felt like, Gus, which is just like, oh, thank God. Like, I have something to get these voices out of my head.
It's like, it's not 2 pages of an audition and they're just like, here's this, it's something like that. Just go with it. It's like, no. I get to think about this and come up with something. And we bounce off of each other. And there's times she'll make a puppet and be like, I kind of see this. And then I'm like, yes, let's do it. Yeah. It's a bee with a deep voice. And then we go.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So, I mean, that's what I was just thinking. Cause the bee behind, I don't know. It's just it's such an interesting thing to think about all the voices that you would have for the characters behind you. Right. It's like, they all need names. Yeah. They all need different voices. I mean, obviously they probably have similar voices, some of them.
I don't know.
Not yet.
We've been pretty good at so you have so this is Honey. Honey is, hey, how's it going? Honey butter popcorn. How's it going? Then you have, hi, I'm Pinky. Good to see you. Oh, it's so wonderful. Oh, my stars. Then Diablo is he works in the shipping department. He's the reason all the mail shows up late or is crumpled or that's Diablo is, oh, hello. Oh.
Is that anxiety? Is that anxiety or is that excitement?
Anxiety is this one right above Diablo. That that is Zigzag, and he barely talks. He mainly just freaks out and screams. It's just this overload, and he's like, and just screams, and he runs off. So, yeah.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Diablo is actually we call him our evil boy. He aspires to be evil, but he always fails at it, but he doesn't quite realize that. So that's it's just, he's still an evolving character, but people love him. He's our little weirdo and people love it. He's
really like a little Loki. Yeah. He just
But he's really not, he's not evil. He
Yeah,
wants
he's
to
Yeah.
be so bad,
Mhm.
but he ends up in doing like good things. So he's just like, like
Yeah.
every
Like,
time.
dang it.
Yeah,
Like
like
Mega
there's
Mind too.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
one time he was like filing our taxes for us, and he was like, I claimed myself as a dependent, and we're like, that's a good thing. You just helped us. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's like, dang it.
That actually lowered our taxable income. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Say like, thanks, actually. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
I really appreciate that. Well, one thing that we don't really talk about that often on this podcast is like how much money is made, right? Because as sort of, I guess we're all in some way struggling creatives, right?
Mhm.
Is that something that you would want to talk about and sort of like how difficult the process has been and how hard it could be and where your understanding of the system has shifted, or I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, it's been such a journey because before this, I ran my own business as a photographer, but that's a very different business model. So
Yeah.
jumping into this, which is like we're doing e-commerce, we're doing like a handmade boutique experience. We're also doing content creation
Yeah.
and we're writing our own content. I mean, it's mainly just the two of us doing all of this. We have a part-time studio assistant who helps us out whenever they can, but it's been such a learning experience to figure out like all these moving parts and there's so many new elements that I'm not used to.
Mhm.
Sales tax is a huge thing. We just had many meetings with different accountants, like learning about the sales tax that we need to charge and like the different states
Yeah.
and the different countries and all of that. And so like that's been an experience. And like quite honestly, like as we get more serious about this, it does get more and more challenging to like figure
Yeah.
out the legalities of all of it. But
Yeah.
we're definitely open to talking about some of it because I think one thing that Gus and I have talked about, like it's so easy to like open up someone's Instagram and see like, oh, they have over 200,000 followers. Like they must be rich or whatever. But it's like, that's
Yeah.
not the case at all. And
Yeah.
it's also been something that happened to us kind of overnight. Like we had a couple videos go viral and we would get these large chunks of followers,
Yeah.
every other video. So it was like, it's not, we've been doing this for just over a year. We started
Wow.
officially like in February 2022. That was
Wow.
like, yeah. So we're very new at this and we're very much like just kind of in the thick of, the growth. And I mean, it's been incredible, but it's also been challenging.
Yeah. I mean, we had goals for 2023 that we accomplished in 3 months because
Yep.
of just virality. And it was like, okay, we're not quite ready for this, but what can we do to catch up? And
Mhm.
so it has felt like we can only do so much of hand making these puppets, and we've had so much want for them. And so at one point we were really trying to push out, and we made like 51 puppets in a month to go out for
Wow.
adoption. And then the next
Wow.
month we did like 47 puppets.
Mhm.
Wow.
And so we were really trying, and like the money was good. We were selling out. The one we did 51 puppets, we sold out in 60 seconds. I mean, it was just like boom, everyone's adopted, and they all went.
Wow. Wow.
And it was great, but it definitely took a toll on us, like, physically, emotionally, creatively, just
Yeah.
like, okay, it's awesome that we can do those numbers, but it's not helping with anything else really in the long
Yeah.
run. It's kind of just like stinting us of just like, okay, now what? Oh, well, now we got to make another 51, 47 puppets, and that's going to take us all
Yep.
month. So we, luckily our Patreon has gotten up. We've got like over 700 followers on there. So it's like, okay, we've got enough to help us, and that's kind of paying for our studio we have now,
Mhm.
which we got upgraded, which has been a huge help as well.
Mhm.
But that's been crazy that we've been making enough that we can have a studio out of this. So
Yeah. Well, that's why
it-
Patreon is such a
yeah.
powerful thing, right? Because you can
Ugh.
you can like alleviate that fear, I guess, of like,
Yes.
oh, we need to sell 51 puppets in order to
Yeah.
make the next batch of puppets, where like this is sort of like patrons are so incredible because it gives you that sort of like, oh, thank God we're okay to keep
Yeah.
doing what we actually can do, which is like make more puppets and adopt more
Yeah.
puppets.
And it's
Yeah.
still, even Patreon is still not even like this like end all be all of like the back, because it's like,
Yeah.
people don't realize if they pay for a year, we get that all in one payment. So then the next coming months, you're not getting that payment from that person. So it's like you could have a really good month, and then the next month you're only bringing in like $400. So it's like, there's weird things that don't always translate when people see them online of like, oh man, they're, you see people have all this following, everything. And it's like, it doesn't always mean we are out there like, all right, we can buy a new car, we can buy a house. It's like, no, we're still renting an apartment. We can't afford a house anywhere. We can't, it's like, we're having a great time with puppets.
Unless you go right next door to the Empire Center where the planes will be flying over you constantly.
Yeah.
Like that's going to be a solid buy for you. But boy, howdy.
And that's a teardown house too. That's a teardown that you got to put another $1 million into. So it's like,
exactly.
No,
I mean, I think it's an interesting insight into anyone that is inside the creator economy, which is just sort of like, at any moment this is gone, right? And it is not dissimilar to like, oh, I could get fired at any moment, but it's so much influx and so much nothing in moments, like literally moments, where I'm like, I've actually made pretty good money, but like it's all in a high interest yielded savings account. Like, cause I have no idea when this is going to go away. Like I just don't.
Fair enough.
And also like, is the app going to change and I can't do it anymore? Like,
right.
Like I just don't know.
Yeah. That is a constant fear in the back of my head of like, okay, we're doing great now, but what if something changes with the algorithm? Or what if a new app comes along and nobody wants to be on Instagram anymore? Like, that's constantly in the back of my head. So we try our best to like think about things like that and plan ahead. And that is why, we're trying to branch out and to have like multiple streams of income, because if this,
Smart.
just have a couple different fail safes, so we have like Patreon, the shop. Right now, we're really trying to build up a YouTube audience so that we can get kind of like sponsorships and AdSense and things like that. But like right now, those are probably our two main sources, is Patreon and the shop. And like Gus said, it's unsustainable to just have everything be weighing on something that is handmade and takes a lot of labor like that.
Yeah.
So we're kind of restructuring things the last few months, and it's definitely just a constant thought of like, at any moment this could stop, and then what do we do? I have no idea. But
if you're not having an existential crisis at least once a week as a content creator, you're not doing it right.
No, you're not. You're not a content creator.
I think actually that's one of the things that we talked about, Gus and Jesse, at the Patreon event. So we're just like, so you stress too? All right, tight. Like,
awesome. We're in this.
like even my wife is like how are you still so busy? I was like, I don't know how busy I am. Like, I can't do it.
We're always like constantly like, so what are we doing today? Oh yeah, we're doing that. And then we have, because that's for tomorrow, and then that's for the next day, and then we're into that, and then we don't have any plans for the weekend, right? And they're like, but we also have, I think this is coming up, so we're gonna do that on Saturday and Sunday. So we're just like,
no, okay. literally this morning I woke up and I was like, oh, my day's like pretty good today. And then I looked at my calendar and was like, how do I not have any time? Like, it's just absolutely insane.
That's exactly how it is.
But
Honestly.
that's kind of, that actually kind of leads into my next question, but more generally into the puppet making. Actually, I did have a question about, have you sort of gotten into the puppet niche of content creators? The one that I think about the first is Glove and Boots, right? So their Glove and Boots is like a well-known sort of puppet place, but they're very focused on like the creation and the content and the story of Glove and Boots. Okay. So is that sort of what you're also trying to do, is like get into that narrative world? Or is it more like, Gus, are you just trying to like come up with these concepts, create the shorts, sell them because they have these fun backstories and everything?
Yeah.
I mean, like long form narrative, or is it?
Honestly, it's both. We've had, since the beginning, we've had long form narrative of like, even the whole Ragmop and Dr. Goose, that whole thing has been this long form narrative of like, okay, Ragmop goes out, finds DNA, brings it to my lab, I clone it, then we have puppets. And in the mixture of that, we have Honey is my lab assistant, and he's had things where he dropped bleach in there, and then we got all the black and white puppets that are up here. They're all the ink blot ones. We did green dye was dropped in, so then we had St. Patrick's Day puppets came out of that, and then we did Honey. I shrunk the puppets. So it's mostly you had Honey and puppet. So we put them through a machine to try and clone, and then we ended up shrinking them and making finger puppets.
So good.
So we have like an overarching like Ragmop and Goose story. We have Roland goes to the Ren Fair every year. So that's now become like a long-standing story of running into the same performers there and doing little bits. And I mean, we have more, and that's the part of like trying to get into YouTube of like, we've got it set up, we're going, but we're almost there of trying to do more long form content and really putting out a story and doing side quests and whatever else.
Yeah.
So, but we're in the realm of like, there's a little more play because we're kind of in this science fiction era of like making puppets and everything. So we can really just go absolutely anywhere with it. So that's kind of where we set ourselves up.
But that's honestly incredible, right? Like, and that's kind of the day-to-day that you have that we were discussing besides the existential crises.
That is my day-to-day.
Yeah. What day is it? I'm due for one at 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, you know, you wake up, you have your puppets that you've adopted and you're cloning and stuff, and you just build it out. So I guess it starts with Jesse. And then what is that typical day? What is the best part of the worst part? I mean, what is that insight that I'm missing here? I mean, I would love to know.
Yeah. We're trying really hard to get a more consistent flow, and we've been getting better, but as I said, because we're just like we're learning how to do this every day, we don't have like a day-to-day that's the same, but typically you know, we choose a day of the month for adoption day. It's usually once a month. We decide which characters are going to be available and how many of each puppet. And then we work with our assistant who does a lot of like kind of the base work. So they'll cut out the skins and stuff. And then as we call them, skins. And Gus and I bring them home and we do, so everything's hand sewn just because it's like, it ends up being, it looks better. You know, you hide the seams easier. Sure. Yeah. So we sew everything and then we bring it back to our assistant who does like the next round where they attach like arms and rods and things like that. And then I will go in and add the final features like the eyeballs, the pupils, if there's like little hairs or horns. Gus will take on certain elements of the building process. So he cuts out all the pupils. He sculpts like any foam horns and then he paints them. So it's kind of like between the three of us, like we all have our different roles in the building process. But while that's also happening, Gus and I are brainstorming content, trying to figure out like, okay, what do we have coming up? You know, the holiday season's coming up. So right now we're really trying to plan ahead for Halloween content because we have a ghost marionette that is has a little fan base. So
that's this guy right here. That.
Yeah, Stanley.
Hey. Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a lot of brainstorming, and I wish we could say that we had like a production flow nailed down, but we really don't. And like both of us are very likely ADHD, so we're constantly all over the place.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like no, that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Look at all those bright colors behind you. How do you? How would anyone else without a neurodivergent ability be able to handle what's behind Gus and Jesse right now? Like this is not like that. That's normal to me. That calms me down. Yeah. But it doesn't calm most people down. Like, that's just.
And I wonder what that's like. I always wonder, like, what is it like to like not have thoughts constantly, like to have a brain that doesn't shut up? Like, what is that like? I have no idea what that's like.
No clue. Not a clue.
So,
I think that's one of the reasons
bits
why
in my head as we're talking.
Yeah,
like it's just like
I think that's one of the reasons why we became friends, because when we were at the Patreon event, all three of us were like, what's the deal with these apples? Like, could we just, this has to be an art installation.
I swear to God,
lo and behold.
They were delicious, by the way. Delicious.
Yeah, right? Like, and then we were just talking about, we were like, all three of us were just like, man, what the fuck is up with these apples? Like, this is part of the art thing. And then I think it was like the end of the event, and like Gussie would eat one, and like
I grabbed a bag.
Yeah, you grabbed a bag, and like I think the artist came out and was like, I would just like to thank everyone for being a part of the apple art installation. We're just like, oh no. We thought
They had like cream lying out there. Like, why are you gonna put apple? Like, just have it all? No, absolutely not.
Yeah, so to be 8, it makes complete sense that amazing people with our abilities like are good at creating puppets. Like that makes sense.
And like we've gotten better about our workflow. So we're very consistent of like 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. We're keeping it at 9 to 5. We go home.
Smart.
We might sew a little bit, do a little bit of work, but we're trying to really like separate of like, no, we got to have a life outside of, all this and the business. Even though we still love doing it outside of this too. So we'll do stuff on the weekends, do whatever, but just kind of still at least trying to create that boundary of like, okay, I'm still Gus and that's still Jesse. And so we do have to have like, I still have a car that I have not registered and needs to be taken care of. And it's just sitting in our alleyway, like those types of things, you got to do that.
But don't worry about that. Don't worry about that until someone tells you about that. Yeah.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. I was thinking too, I mean, the best part and the worst part about your jobs, but is like, to me, I think the best part would just be like, as a cool uncle or as a cool like aunt, like, hey, here's a sock. Let's come up with a fun game, right? Like that's kind of like, you're the best babysitters in the world, right? Like I would assume. Maybe you're not, but I don't know.
100%. Our old place we used to live at, we were like a back house and there was a front house, and both were rentable. And there was a family with 3 kids, and this was like still in quarantine level. So like they were inside, we were inside, but we would like play games with the puppets and stuff. And then like one year for Halloween, they couldn't trick or treat. So we set up our house as multiple levels of trick or treating. So they came to our front door, and then we ran around to the side gate and had like another character there and was like, okay, you can enter. And then brought them into the back door, had another character there of trick or treating, and then brought them to the garage, did that, and then brought them to, and just did like a whole thing so we could like at least give these kids like something to like feel normal,
And then we did a little
incredible.
puppet. We did a little puppet show at the end too. We had like this stage that he and our roommate had built. It was like this castle they were building for a short film. And there's this little window in the middle, which was perfect for puppets. So we had the kids sit down and we did a little puppet show for them. And
it's
so fun.
Cool.
Yeah, we did marionette making with them. They made little felt marionettes and we love all that stuff. And even like the Bob Baker Marionette Theater out here, seeing all the kids go to the shows and just seeing them light up and see these characters, come to life. And we just love all of that. So yeah, we would, if you need a babysitter, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that was another thing. I was like, so my daughter is almost a year old now. And another thing that I told you, Gus, was like, man, my daughter would fucking love a puppet show. Like, it's just so like, I already know that like that she would be a little bit like apprehensive at first, but then all of a sudden she would be like, yes, like these bright colors are amazing. Like, oh my gosh. I mean, is that so? I guess we kind of touched on what the worst part is. I mean, I guess the hardest part about the profession would just be sort of like upkeep, right? Like making sure that you still can sew and like you have the time and wherewithal to do it, right? I mean, is that true, or is the worst part like coming up with another voice?
No,
I
that's the easy part, right?
That's the fun part.
That's the fun side and the easy stuff. All any of the business stuff, that's the part where we're like, why do we have to do this side? We just want to make stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's all the administrative and like keeping up with emails and messages and troubleshooting things. Like if something goes wrong with the website or Shopify, and you're like having to be on the online live chat to like figure out what the problem is, and taxes, and just anything with like numbers and words, like not fun. Do not like go away. But so the worst part is definitely just like the mundane administrative tasks, which are honestly like are 80% of the business, truly. Like, and that's one thing I wish people could understand too, is like when you have a business, it's more of that not fun stuff than it is the fun stuff. But when we get to do the fun stuff, it just makes all of that so much worth it because like the other day we were filming a video and we've been really busy just kind of troubleshooting a lot of stuff in the business with like finances and taxes and getting set up with, certain protocols to be like legally good and updated. And because we've been so busy with that, like we haven't really had time to play. And we got to film a video the other day and it was just like the highlight of these last few months. It was just, I was like, this is it. This is what I want. I just want to do this. I don't want to do any of the other stuff. Like, please go away.
Yeah, you have to constantly remind yourself, just like, no. Like even yesterday, I was just like, oh, like this is my job. Like I'm doing this. Like this is my job, right? Like, and just an incredible feeling.
Mm-hmm. It is. Man. When we did Pinky performing Billie Eilish's song from Barbie, and it was just so much fun to set up the shots and make this little video that just we saw in our heads. We're like, this would be adorable. We need to do this.
Yeah.
And we did it in, a couple hours, edit it, posted it, done. And it was like, I just want that feeling for the rest of the week.
That release of just like getting it out,
I was going to say right after we filmed the video, we had to go right back to like the boring administrative work. Like, okay, back to my computer, back to this and all that. So
I got pretty lucky because I'm the same as you two. I was like, I can't, words and math are not fun. Words and numbers bad. I'm not good at those. And my wife is such an amazing person for so many reasons, but mostly because like she's a writer and she's good at budgeting. So it's like perfect.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Like I don't know how to do the word and math, but you do.
You word and math. I use mouth.
I use mouth and pictures. Good. Mouth and pictures. We would have crushed it in the caveman times. Holy, like we would have just. Oh man! But now I got words. No, thank you. What? How many numbers do I owe? I don't know where those came from. That's crazy.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess it's funny. I was trying to think of like, how do you ask a puppeteer or puppeteers, right? Technically, How do you ask a puppeteer like, what's a life hack that you would have? But I think really the focus of this discussion is more like the life hack for going into business, because that is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, what's the thing you should do before you do that? And I would like to hear what you have to say about that, because we all hate it. So maybe we'll have different answers, but maybe it's the same answer.
So what to do before you open a business, essentially? That's the question.
Yeah, like, because before you become a puppet maker, I would assume like you should have good sewing skills, you should do all that kind of stuff, and maybe be the annoying friend to bring up voices, right? Because that's what I did.
Yeah. No, I mean, like
all three of us are just like, I know.
No, like we still tell people like in no ways are we masters at this. So like because that's a part of it too, is like we want to get people into the conservation side of like bringing people back into puppets. So it's like showing people that like, no, you can do this. If you love puppets, like you can make one yourself. It's we've learned ourselves, and we've watched Adam Krutinger on YouTube, and he is like the Jedi master of puppets, and just has videos for everything. So it's like you can get on there and find anything to do. But if you can do something before you get into it as a business, I mean, Sid, I feel like you did it. It's just marry someone who knows how to do numbers, and then you're good. Like that's it.
The other day, I had to change my my business entity address, and I was on the phone with the California tax board, and I just was like, I'll just call them and ask for a change.
Yeah.
And for anyone that wants to do that, and you don't like, okay, it's not just as easy as, hey, I move, or like we're moving or whatever, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I needed so many levels of verification, but my wife just knew where the binder was, flipped open a page.
Hold on, you've already finished it. Your wife had a binder.
Yeah, I know. Like,
Ours is a shoebox under the bed with just like I think my passport and my birth certificate are in there. I don't know.
like somehow she pulled out this binder and I was like, do you have the SKU for the whatever? And she was like, oh yeah, sure. And then she flipped through and I was like, how did you know that? Like,
yeah.
So maybe that's the life hack. Get a binder and organize it. That's cool.
Yeah.
Get someone to organize it for you.
Get someone to organize it.
Yeah. If it's a partner, slam dunk, like that is the person for you. If that's like, I mean, truly, like that is such a life hack. That is a life hack. If you can find a partner who like is the opposite of your skills, that's great.
That's it.
Yeah.
I feel bad sometimes. I'm like, sometimes when I'm like throwing bits and like funny things at my wife, and maybe sometimes she's not redirecting it as emphatically as I want her to. But then I called the tax board and she knows where the thing is. And I'm like, oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Like, perfect. All right. Well, we're gonna. I think we're gonna take a quick little break, and then we'll be back with Dr. Goose and Jesse, and we're gonna play a little game that concerns puppets. Ooh. Who could have guessed? Hey, everybody! Middle of the show, ad break, and who's the ad for? Me. Explain Like I'm 30. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you're enjoying this episode. It is so much fun to talk to these two amazing people. If you like this episode, please spread the love, rate and review it wherever you listen to podcasts, because that is how this show will grow. Let us know what you think. Who should we have on the show? How are we doing? Rate it, review it. Let us know. All right, back to the show. Hey everyone, welcome back. We are here with Dr. Goose and Jesse. Jesse, before we get into the game, you did have passports that I want to showcase, but we just got so excited about talking about how we're ADD that our ADD just took over.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
shocker.
How it is.
Shocker.
So this is what they get, like a little envelope that when they open it up, they get their little what to expect. I think it's going to show up backwards, but
no, it shows up good. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, good.
Yep.
What to expect when you're expecting a puppet? A complete guide to puppet parenting.
Cute.
And this is the back of it. Oh. So then they open it up and it's like, it's like a little flyer, and they get a puppet passport. So it has their name, their pronouns, and their likes. So this is Pinky. Pinky's favorite color. Pinky's favorite color is pink, so everything in their interest box is all pink, like flamingos, bubblegum, cotton candy, all of that. So that's his passport. And then they get an adoption certificate so they can sign and make it official. And then they have personal records that they fill out as they get to know their puppet. So like favorite foods, activities, phobias, wishes, things like that. And then this is the inside where it's like, this just talks about like how to actually care for your puppet. Like if it, gets a boo-boo or needs a bath or something. This is like getting to know your puppet. So it's like actual like puppeteering tips, and this is just like, this is one of my favorite parts. It says like, this is a judgment-free zone. Puppets are a really easy way to make people smile, bring them on trips and events with you to introduce to other people. Your puppet is here to help you connect with and embrace parts of yourself that you may feel bad or embarrassed about them or about. Let them shine your light. So that's like my favorite little bit. So that's everything 100%. That comes with their puppet. And yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do is just like make this. I want like when they open the box to just make it feel like more than them just getting, like a puppet. I want them to feel like they're getting a friend,
Yeah.
And that's why we started doing videos of actually boxing the puppet and laying it down in the box. And we did one with Pinky where it was like, Pinky was actually like, I'm a little scared. And we were like, oh, it's okay. Like, why don't we sing our favorite song? And so then Pinky starts singing his favorite song and calming down. And then we wrap it up the box and close it up and everything's okay, And, but yeah, it's just been so much fun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I know. Well, I always think about just sort of like having, obviously I would have thought it was weird, like as I got older, but definitely like as a kid, I would have absolutely loved having that sort of because the thinking it was weirder is because like of that sheltered sort of like, oh, I need to shelter myself sort of thing.
Mhm.
But then like obviously as I got an adult, I was like, oh my God, give me a puppet or whatever, right? Like let's do this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, that kind of thing. But as a kid, I think that it would just be such a helpful thing to sort of be like, hey, like I have this expression of like something that I can do, or it's like, oh no, like this is my puppet, like, or introducing puppets into my life. I don't know. It just sort of, it seems like such a obvious like bridge into comfortable with self, right? I think, and that's sort of just such an amazing thing.
That's
whether it's ADD or whether it's trauma, whether it's whatever, like it's like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Two of our main goals are like, we want to inspire kids today to like connect with something that's like tangible and physical, because there's so many things out there that's like on a screen and like very digital. And this is just a fun way where it's like, no, you can interact with something and engage with something, and it's right there, and it can engage with other people. So it's
not a digital avatar. It's like, no, this is a real character right here. You can do whatever, you can make it whatever you want to be.
Yeah, so they can learn to socialize, they can learn to build relationships and learn about themselves. And then in addition to like wanting to reach that type of demographic, we also want to reach adults who need to connect with their inner child, because that's, as we've all discussed, like as you get older, there's this part where you're just like, well, I'm too old for this now. But it's just kind of silly to like have those rules in our lives of like, well, now that I'm now that I'm this much and I have, these responsibilities, I can no longer have fun with this. It's like, that's silly. So like those are our two main people that we hope that our work can reach, is just, inspiring people. It's not even about like becoming a professional puppeteer. It's just like inspiring them to want to pick up a puppet and just have fun and like have no pressure, no judgment whatsoever, and just dive into it. That's really like what all of this is about.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that since my daughter has been born, I have been playing with stuffed animals way more than I used to, right? And it's like, I had a Yakko doll that I got forever ago. Yeah. And it was just kind of hanging out for a while. And then my daughter came back here and she kind of just like clocked it. And now it's in the front. I'm like, holy crap, what a promotion that Yakko just got from like back here hanging out in my office, like, hey, there's a Yakko, to like now it's my daughter's favorite, right? Like, and that's crazy to me.
Love that.
But it's true. I mean, I even like move him around and I'm doing all this stuff, and I don't know. It is a very eye-opening thing to like have that expression and just be able to like have that tangible thing and just be like, oh no, like you're gonna have fun right now. And I think that like forcing of fun is just like a thing that grown-ups need. I mean, it really is.
Especially like after these last few years, since quarantine and everything, it's like, why not? At this point, like, who cares? Just want to play with a puppet, play with a puppet.
Let's have fun. Why not?
Listen, I was gonna wear a tank top during this discussion, but I was like, no, it's not like I need a shirt. But then at the same time, like we've all been through like 2020, 2021, where we were just like, who gives a shit? Like, I don't care.
I literally don't like notice anything like that. Like I wouldn't have noticed it. If you would have worn a tank top, I'm like, okay, it's hot, whatever. I honestly wouldn't have even acknowledged it. Like it really
that makes
matter.
sense.
Yeah.
All right, well let's get into this game. I think it's going to be pretty fun, and I think you're probably going to be really good at it. So we're going to play a little bit of puppet trivia, and I want to see who can do better, right? So it is going to be Gus versus Jesse. So I apologize for that. But
Gus is probably going to win. He's better at pop culture stuff.
But you say this stuff all the time. Anytime we start playing a game, you're like, Gus is probably going to win. And then she shows up and it's just like, la-di-da-di-da, and then just wins. And you're just like, yeah, see? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
See, I told you were going to win.
Yeah.
All right. So question 1 is, what year was Kermit the Frog introduced?
1962?
That's, I think it was 1962.
It's either 62 or 64.
Okay.
I think 62, 4 too late.
The answer.
No, wait. It's 1959. Wasn't it?
Ooh,
it was like in the late 50s.
Interesting.
Shh.
You got to lock it in, Gus.
Ah, crap. I'm reading his biography right now too. And
it was
like a couple weeks. Yeah, it's a couple weeks ago I read it. So now I'm like, oh no. because I think I'm in the 60s right now in it. Okay, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say 62.
Okay.
I know. I
The
think
answer
it's
is
wrong, but-
1955.
Oh,
It was the 50s.
Yeah. So an early version of Kermit appeared in 1955 in a 5-minute puppet show for WRC TV's Sam and Friends.
Yeah.
So maybe he wasn't the main character, but Kermit
No.
was in there in 1955.
yeah.
Just like The
Yeah.
I think it was
Simpsons. The Simpsons weren't main characters until, or was
Right.
it? Also, it was The Simpsons and it was King of the Hill was not main characters. They were both like introduced like early on.
On a-
Just offshoots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, because King of the Hill was Beavis and Butthead as like
That's
a little
what it
thing,
was.
and before that, yeah.
Exactly. All right, so that's okay. It's okay. Is it Jim Henson's autobiography or is it a biography written by?
It's his. I want to say
It's written by somebody else.
But there's
Okay.
a lot of like quotes and stuff and from him and Brian and like the whole Muppet family and everything. So
Cool.
it's pretty good. It's really good right now.
All right, question 2. What country made puppets from dried sheepskin?
Brazil.
Ooh.
So I would say like Scotland.
Dried
That makes sense
sheepskin?
actually.
I'm like, it's like sheep. Yeah, Scotland.
So-
where would there be a lot of?
Are those your
what do you got?
answers?
Yeah.
So the answer is China. China
Oh.
made show puppets from stretched donkey skins, dried sheep skins, water buffaloes, pigs, or fish. Shadow puppets are translucent figures colored with the paints. These figures are placed in front of the screen with light passing through them, and a shadow of the figures appear clearly in the audience of the other side. These shadows of figures appear clearly. They usually have 3 rods in them string, and so I guess this is more like they made shadow puppets out
Yeah.
of sheepskin to like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
Isn't
anything
that
like
crazy?
that, yeah.
Wow.
Wow. That's
I've never heard
wild.
of that. That's crazy. Yeah.
All right, so dried sheepskin.
All right.
Look at that. See? Look at that.
They had to be entertained then too by puppets. Come on.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, so question 3. Every 2 years, what country hosts, I bet you got the largest. All right, so every 2 years, what country hosts the largest puppet festival? Bonus point if you know the town too. Ooh.
United States, and it's in Maryland, right?
That sounds cool.
Is this
Well,
the one
that's
that just happened, Gus?
No, I don't think that's this one. I think the one that he's asking about is the one that it happens in Europe. I want to say it happens in like because that's the US like puppet one, but this one's like the bigger one where they do like those big gigantic puppets where they parade them around and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I want to say, oh God, I'm like, it's like Denmark, Belgium, or Holland or something like that, maybe. I know it's probably wrong.
Ready?
Spain. I'm going to say Spain.
Spain for every answer. Spain.
Spain.
What year was Kermit the Frog introduced? Spain.
Spain. It's in Spain. Somewhere in Spain.
just scream a country. The answer is Chavrel, Mazis, Champagne, Adrian, France.
France.
I can't speak French, so it's in France. Fun
Okay.
fact:
Okay.
the World Festival of Puppet Theatre, founded by Jacques Felix in 1961, has made the Chevrel Marzizis. That's I'm just going to say it like that. The capital of puppetry.
Chevrolet, Missouri.
Chevrolet, Missouri. That
France.
one guy that moved up from the bayou, just decided that puppets are real rad. What's that? What is the convention in Maryland?
So it's like
what's it called?
Go ahead, Gus.
No,
it's the National Puppet Festival.
Yeah, and it's in Maryland every 2 years, and then it goes to on the in-betweens. I think it's like in New Jersey or New York. But at Maryland, they do it it's the college that Jim Henson went to. And so they have like a statue of him outside with Kermit. But I mean, it's like all sorts of people go there and show off different puppets. There's different classes, shows. You learn all sorts of things. We were so upset we couldn't go to it this year.
It just happened
so
like
cool.
2 weeks ago, I think. But we heard about it like a week before.
What
Yeah.
part of do you know the town that it is? Is it outside of Baltimore or is it?
I think
It might-
it is
I
outside
think.
Baltimore. Yeah, I want to say that was the closest.
Yeah.
BWI
But we
somewhere.
hadn't heard of
Yeah.
it before, and now we want to go.
But I guess
Cool.
it's the weird thing because it happens every 2 years there. So
Right.
that's why it's like, but really cool.
It's such an interesting place, I think, in society to be where we're like, where you get into something like this that you've always loved that you never knew you always loved, but then all of a sudden there's already a convention for it,
Yeah.
which
Oh my
is
God,
super
yeah.
helpful.
Yeah.
I think.
The community that's already existed. I mean, I honestly, I've been in my own world with this. Like, I've had no idea that there's such a community for it. And
Yeah.
as we're kind of growing this business, we're learning more and more about different puppeteers and creators and festivals. And
Just this year, we learned there's the LA Puppet Guild. And so
Cool.
we joined it, and now they do the Magic Castle. They do puppets, coffee, and donuts in some mornings. And so it's like you get into the Magic Castle for free and get to see like puppet shows and talk to puppeteers. And then they have like other events. We got to see Marcel the Shell with shoes on in like puppet people's backyard. They projected it. And then we got to meet
Cool.
some of the people who worked on the film, and they brought like a little Marcel, and we got to actually see it and like size and everything. So it's like the community we've gotten to kind of get into now. It's like, oh, thank God there's more people that love this
Yeah.
stuff.
It's our people. It's our people.
Yeah. Once you find that community, it feels so good.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So we have 2 more questions. Question 4 is, what is the biggest puppet in the world?
Oh, so that's those.
Like, it has a name?
I guess, yeah.
I want to say it's those ones. They might be in Spain.
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 Spain. But
Spain is my
they're-
answer for all of these.
They're these giant like ones, and they actually like swing like Notre Dame, like from wires to actually get the legs to go up and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
What do you
I
think?
don't know
Yeah.
the name of it.
No.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so-
don't either.
This is actually wild. It's Percy the Porcupine. Percy the Porcupine is a 2-story creation that is covered in 2,000 foam quills and has an articulated nose the size of
What?
a 2-ton Volkswagen, and it's located. The wild thing, it's located at the San Diego Zoo.
What?
Shut up. Oh, okay. We got to go see that.
We gotta go
Yeah.
to San Diego.
Oh, like, wait a
That's
second.
awesome.
There's a
What?
2-story porcupine. Wow.
What a dream.
How many
dream.
quills was it?
It was
How many-
2,000 foam quills.
2,000 foam quills.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that
That's
crazy?
That's insane.
That's nuts. I need to meet Percy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. 2 stories tall.
Hi. Just like constantly, just like,
This
I'm a
giant
porcupine.
lumbering. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing.
All right.
Oh my gosh. All right. So, final question. Question 5. Who was the first puppet to appear on TV?
Oh my gosh. These are really hard questions.
First
Dude.
puppet to appear on TV.
Rob, the producer, will love to hear that.
No, they were really good. Okay.
The first puppet to appear on TV. It had to have been, well, TV or like movies? Just TV.
TV. Yeah.
So it had to be in like the 40s or 50s.
For some reason, my mind is going to like black and white Johnny Carson. I feel like it had to have happened before that, but like.
The first thing I can always think of is like Lamb Chop. But I think this was even before Lamb Chop.
But this is before that. Yeah. Because this is
Yeah.
like,
Mr. Rogers was started in black and white. And I know he
But
had puppets. But
But
I
it
remember
feel like
like,
that
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
60s or something. Yeah.
because in Jim's biography, he was talking about how when he was a kid, he would see puppets on TV and he was reimagining how they could be portrayed on TV. So I honestly have no idea.
I almost feel like it's a commercial. Like it was a commercial that the puppet was used for or something like that. It was like one of the first ones.
Yeah.
Dude, you're getting deep. So, ready for this?
Yeah.
The first puppet ever to appear on TV was named Muffin the Mule. And Muffin the Mule made his TV debut in a For Children BBC on October in For the Children on BBC on October 20th, 1946,
Oh,
and
46.
continued to
Wow.
appear until 1955.
Wow.
What? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
What a
What was
run.
it called? Mule?
Muffin the Mule.
Muffin the Mule.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look all this up. I'm learning
Yeah,
so
it's-
much.
It's interesting. It's interesting too, because when I think about puppets, the first puppet I really understood that was a puppet was Lamb Chop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that to me, and I can't believe that like we still know who Lamb Chop is, because it's just a holdover from our parents. Like, oh, this is Lamb Chop. Like I remember having a
Yeah.
Lamb Chop. I remember like enjoying Lamb Chop. And then I guess I thought that like Lucille Ball was the voice of Lamb Chop for some reason, but I think that was because she always appeared next to Lamb Chop, maybe.
They did a lot of stuff together or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Because I remember I remember that. I don't know why.
Yeah. I know what you mean. They do seem like they would be connected. But I think the girl who created and voiced Lamb Chop also had short red hair too. But
That's what I think too.
yeah.
So maybe we're just getting conflated between like Lucille Ball's look and then the other person that was also Lamb. I saw a TikTok recently of like the original Lamb Chop appearance. And I was like, oh my gosh, Lamb Chop.
Yeah. She's an icon.
She is.
Oh, yeah.
She's so cool. Well, we do have a little bit more time, but I definitely want to give you all the floor of like what you'd like to try to sort of like promote to the audience. I know you're trying to grow your YouTube channel, like you mentioned that. Also, where can people find you? Let the people know what you have going on.
Yeah.
Ragmop and Goose everywhere. That's the
That is
easiest
so
way.
great.
YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Threads.
Threads.
whatever that is. Ragmop and Goose, we're there. We're really trying to build our YouTube because we really want to do more long form content. We have so many stories that we want to tell, and that's honestly where we want to get, like diving deeper into Ragmop and Goose, just what we're doing. Because that's our strengths, is that. So we really want to keep going that way. We will be at DesignerCon in December.
Yeah.
We will have a booth, so you can come meet puppets and potentially adopt a puppet there. We'll have all sorts of stuff there. We'll probably be doing shows and everything, so it'll be great.
Yeah. And we're doing a virtual birthday party for our ghost puppet in October on the 14th. So it'll be a live stream. We did one last year. It was really fun. So we're going to do the same thing this year. There'll be a giveaway. There'll be games, little sketch comedy stuff, music, and all live streamed.
All live streams. Is it on YouTube or Twitch
I think
or
we're gonna
just
do it
on your
YouTube.
website?
Yeah, we'll probably do it on
YouTube.
YouTube. Yeah,
Good.
But
So
then
it's not paywalled or anything. So
No.
cool.
We go live on Instagram on Wednesdays and go live on TikTok on Fridays. TikTok is a little more here and there. We'll see, but Wednesdays are normal. We go live on Instagram. So
honestly, from a content perspective, going live on TikTok and doing Ragmop and Goose, like just them being the main, that's great. I bet that's honestly like a pretty great live stream.
Yeah,
it's,
really
it's fun. We've done karaoke's, we've done spelling bees, we've done we went to the fifth dimension.
Cool.
We did all sorts of stuff. So it gets really crazy and weird. But it's fun.
Well, I mean, that's the best part about TikTok live stream is just like this is weird.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess I also like props for getting Ragmop and Goose completely everywhere because that's incredible, especially in this day and age. So respect.
Thank you.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Any last words, any final tips you want to give the audience before we head out?
Just, if you're a creator out there, just keep making things, even if nobody sees your work on Instagram. Like, you never know when one thing will go viral. That was the case for us. We had no intentions of this being what it is. It just happened. So just keep making. If it makes you happy, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the honest thing of it. Our video that went viral was not meant for that purpose. It was just us playing around with a puppet, and just Jesse happened to record it and put it up. So it was like, that's the end of it, is like, we just did it because we were doing it without filming it. This wasn't anything that we were like, this is exactly what we're going to get into. It's like, no, we just wanted to have fun. And that's what we want other people, just have fun.
Yeah.
Just have fun.
Do what makes you have fun. Because we don't have much to live. So why not just have fun with it? Like,
Yeah.
laugh, make voices, make puppets, make characters, do whatever. Just have fun. Anyway,
Someone will find your content. And you'll be able to have fun while also having a job. Well, thank you so much for joining us. This has been such a great interview. I really enjoyed it. Can't wait to talk again soon, y'all.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Bye. All right. That's the episode, everybody. I really hope you loved it as much as I did, because that was so much fun. Seriously. Thank you so much for listening. I had a blast. Thank you so much to Gus and Jesse for being on the show. If you have a question for me or know somebody that would be amazing on the show, please let us know. Shoot us an email, eli30@human-content.com. And if you just want to hang out with me, Sidney Raz, all over the internet, or the amazing people at Human Content, hang out with us and talk with us. Let us know what you think on Instagram and TikTok, Human Content Pods. That's at Human Content Pods. We'd really appreciate it if you rated and reviewed this episode and this podcast. It really does help the show grow. Thank you so much for listening. So please let us know what you think. Give us that 5-star, give us that comment, give us that like, listen to the entire episode. That's why you're here. Thank you for the support. So please rate and review the show. If you subscribe and comment on YouTube, I might give you a shout out. That's true. Let us know. And speaking of YouTube, we upload these episodes every single Thursday. So you can see my beautiful face if you yearn to see it, because you love my beautiful voice, just like my mother always said I had. Thank you so much. Every single Thursday on YouTube at Sidney Raz. Thank you so much. I am your host, Sidney Raskind. Special thanks to our guests, professional puppet adoption agency Ragmop and Goose, aka Jesse and Gus. Our executive producers are Sidney Raskind, Aaron Rubin Corney, Rob Goldman, and Shanti Brooke. Our editor is Andrew Sims. Our engineer is Jason Portizo. Our music is Omer Benzvi. Our theme song is Dr. Music. Explain Like I'm 30 is a Human Content production. And remember, hydration equals happiness.
Explain like I'm 30.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. If you like this podcast and you would like to see more, don't forget to click that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you get notified about all of the uploads. Leave a comment down below. Let us know who we should have on the show and let us know what you think. Don't forget, more episodes right over there. Click!